UFC did not have images of their fighters on their posters. Then they just had a bicep with no face. They had some posters with only one fighter on them, like Dan Severn at UFC 27 and Tito Ortiz at UFC 30. They went from having no fighters on their posters to one fighter to 7 fighters on the UFC 43 poster. The UFC 31 poster was a bit biased towards Pedro Hizo, as he's landing a knee on Randy Couture on it. Tito Ortiz and Elvis Sinisic's body are emerging out of the jersey skyline in this UFC 32 poster. UFC 67 had Silva and Luter on it, but with Rampage Jackson in the back watching, and no mention of his opponents. And Forrest Griffin is in the middle of Franklin and Okami in this one, also with no mention of his opponents. UFC 76 ended up maybe being the most ironic poster, because the event was called UFC Knockouts, and not a single knockout took place on the card.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny.
Diaz versus St. Pierre was a different one for the UFC, because you had the gigantic brooding Nick Diaz hovering over GSP in this title matchup. Nogueira's a couple feet higher than Roy in this one, where Nelson is lunging high for an uppercut. The UFC 175 one used patriotic face painting for the first time with Weidman versus Silva. Cowboy with his back to the camera in this one. This one is bizarre because how big Conor McGregor has become, that it seems so odd that he could have ever been headlining a show with Cole Miller in the UFC. The fight did not happen, as Cole pulled out and Brandao filled in. UFC 179 was a unique artistic deviation from the UFC standard posters, with Aldo and Mendez headlining the show. The UFC 181 poster was very well received by fans and critics. It was designed by DC Comics. The Thrilla in Manila was the inspiration for the UFC's poster for their first trip to the Philippines for Edgar vs. Faber. UFC 200 was an interesting one, with 8 fighters standing above us in this image. Originally, there were quotes on the faces for the UFC posters for the event. The main event was supposed to be Diaz versus McGregor, but these posters ended up generating several parodies. One of them had Kenny Floyd with many famous quotes on his face attributed to him. And a Helwani versus White poster after Ariel was kicked out of UFC 199 and had his media credentials taken away. The Lewis versus Hunt one was a departure from their regular posters. UFC Lincoln was an odd one because they boasted about how the two fighters had 18 KOs between them, but 15 of them were attributed to Justin. And the UFC 212 one was one of the most unique posters that the UFC has ever done.